56 upgrade. So for a long time I've had the Traxxas aluminum caster blocks with RPM steering blocks, and honestly I just don't like that combination. After a hard bashing session, those caster blocks tend to pinch the steering block and it makes the servo overwork. I need to get rid of that combination. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install RPM caster blocks with aluminum steering blocks. The aluminum steering blocks, of course, were donated to me by Coyote0976. As for the caster blocks, they were donated to me by Freak Show. I've been wanting to do this setup for a very long time, and now it can finally happen. So the first thing I need to do is remove both of the front tires by undoing the 4mm nut. Alright, after taking off the tire, I need to remove the Wheel Hex hub. Now, for mine, I have to loosen this grub screw to pull it off because I have STRC's aluminum hubs. If you have the stock ones, you're going to have to pry it off with a flathead screwdriver. Once you get that hex hub off, I need to remove this bar, slide that off to the side, set that somewhere safe, and now I need to remove the Teflon washer, and while I'm at it, I might as well go ahead and remove the axle pin as well. All I have to do is slide it out. Next, I need to remove the caster block and the steering block from the A-arm. So I need to undo this screw that holds on the camber link, this nut end screw that holds on the turnbuckle, and this pin that's in the front that holds the caster block to the A-arm. Alright, now that I got this off, I need to remove this kingpin by undoing one of these E-clips and then sliding it out. Ugh. And there you go. Now you know exactly what I mean about this pen bending. I hate this setup. This RPM steering block is just not holding up very well. And this caster block just pinches on top of it, so I have to straighten this and the pen out every time I get into a major crash. So after that, I need to go ahead and push out the bearings, one from each side. And now it's time to go ahead and open up those new steering blocks. Alright, and wow, that came right apart. We got Traxxas high quality foam. I like to hold on to that stuff because I always find uses for it. Inside we have the aluminum steering blocks, which look really, really good. Not to mention they do include the bearings that go inside of it, which is nice because if you have the XL5, these are going to be bushings on your RC, and believe me, you want bearings in those wheels. And yes, I will go ahead and use these because the old ones, they're in good shape, but they're rather beat up, so I might as well go ahead and switch them out for the new ones. So let's go ahead and do a quick comparison. Here is the aluminum steering block, and there is the plastic one. They look nearly the same. But that's okay because this just, can't beat aluminum. All these aluminum steering blocks. As for the caster blocks, that's going to be the difference. And yeah, you can see this is actually kind of warped. Now, one last thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be switching out this kingpin that holds the steering block in with this hinge pin. Much, much easier. I don't have to deal with this stupid E-clips. I hate those things. And if you're wondering how I got those out, I just used a pair of tweezers to pry them off. Fine tipped, of course. So now, let's go ahead and put the bearings inside of the steering block. Oh yeah. That is nice. Look at that. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put on the axle pin, followed by that Teflon washer, which is right here. Slide that all the way down, followed by that little pin. Make sure that when you slide it in, it's even on each side. And then finally, I'm going to reattach the Wheel Hex hub. I could do this later, but honestly, I just prefer to do it right now. Now I need to go ahead and tighten that grub screw, and we can finally attach it to the steering, or the caster block I mean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide it perfectly into position, and then I'm going to get the new hinge pin. I'm going to slide it through the bottom, through the caster block, and now I got to tighten it down. Alright, and they have been put back together, and as you can see, I mean, that is That's a really loose fit, which is very nice. So now I need to go ahead and hook it back onto the A-arm. So I'm going to slide it into position, reattach the pin. I'm also going to attach the top camber link and the turnbuckle to the steering block. Now that everything's been reconnected, I'm pretty much done. One thing I always do extra is I put a long screw through the top with a 3mm nut at the end. This just holds in the screw better. And of course, the last step is reattaching the tire. As for the other side, it's the same exact process. Here's before, and here is after. And honestly, I'm going to have to say that I like the look of these a lot more than the blue caster blocks. Now, I'm going to try this for a while. If the caster blocks tend to be just too flexible and it causes problems for the pins, I'm going to go ahead and revert it back to the aluminum caster blocks. But that's only if these fail. You'll find out for sure in future upgrades. But either way, thank you Freak Show and thank you Coyote0976. But this upgrade is done. And that was Demon's level 56 upgrade.